Why is communicating with each other weirdly difficult at times? The reality is that it should not be difficult at all because communication breaks down very simply and only into 3 parts. So in this episode, we're going to talk about the rule of communication, what those 3 parts are, and how you can communicate way more effectively. This is the Gen Ed Show. Welcome back to the Gen Ed Show. This is the place where we teach you how to trust yourself and succeed in the modern age. My name is Eduardo de las Cuevas, your host. I'm a college dropout turned serial entrepreneur operating multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses. And in this, we aim to help you learn the things that you may not even know that you don't even know. So welcome back to your new Gen Ed class. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about all things communication, specifically the rule of communication. What communication, specifically the 3 things that communication breaks down into, and what those 3 pieces to communication are, why each of them are important, how to maximize your ability within those, and then, of course, the relevance to all of this. So starting off with the rule of communication, the first part is body language. Okay, these are your nonverbals. These are the things that really just make us humans and animals more than the sentient beings that we truly are. But frankly, this is really how all of us communicate. Body language, right? Because there's 2 parts to our brain. We have our prefrontal cortex, which is going to be where all of our personality is stored, and that's what makes us human or sentient, right? Not just a normal animal. And then as well, you're also going to have your lizard brain, right? That prehistoric, ancient version of you, the one that is not regulated by personality, but this is where we get our fight, flight, or freeze responses from. And so body language, this is how we are subconsciously communicating with one another. And so now, if you're not dealing with people in person, body language is still very much a thing. If you've ever worked in a call center or on a sales team where you made a lot of phone calls, for example, you may not necessarily be seeing someone, but body language is still very critical. Because if you've ever done this, you may have been told, and if you haven't ever done this before, let me be the first to tell you, smile while you dial, right? They would say to always make sure that you are smiling while you're dialing because people can feel that energy across the phones. And what that means is your body language does have a genuine and very serious effect upon your tone, upon the words, and really the message across the board. Because if you're going and you're delivering a message and you're all like tied up, real low energy, you got your shoulders hunched in and your feet all narrowed and you're shrinking yourself down, it's a low power posture. It's not going to exactly elicit a lot of confidence from anyone that you're speaking with compared to the person who is shoulders pulled back, speaking real loud and confident and not letting any worry about what anyone else may think or believe because of their projected voice to cloud. And body language is going to be a big deal because of the way that you stand can give off a lot of confidence, the way that you look. If you're talking and you're constantly rubbing your neck, that could be a sign of discomfort, right? Or if you're ever flirting with someone and they're playing with their ear, playing with their hair, playing with their hands, that could be a sign of either uncertainty or interest, depending on where it is that they are fumbling and touching, different parts of their body. Body language is 55% of communication. It is the majority. So if there is anything to worry about when it comes to communication is your body language. How are you standing? How are you posturing yourself? Are you smiling? What's your face look like? Are your shoulders pulled back? Hygiene ends up being a very important piece here too. Are you grooming yourself and taking care of yourself? Do you look someone in the eyes, or are you constantly averting attention and looking away? Where are your eyes? Where are your feet pointed? Where are your hands? Do you use hand motions? Are you smiling? It all sounds very simple, but these are all innate human ways of communication that we took on well before we ever took on words. I mean, heck, words are still relatively new phenomena for humans. Over the millions of years we've been around, words have been around for not that long. The Phoenicians are really the big ones that really brought this forward. This is where phonetics come from, right? From the Phoenicians back during Mesopotamic era. Anyway, so first piece being body language, 55%. Second piece to the rule of communication is your tonality, right? The way in which you say things. So to the first one of 55% body language being communication, you've always heard this phrase, I'm sure. It's not, it's actions speak louder than words. Right, exactly. Because actions do speak louder than words because body language is most critical. So then comes tone, 38% of communication. 38%. And you can probably finish this quote for me too. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's always about your tone. You can look at, for example, Jordan Belfort. He has a list of, I think, 26 or 27 different tones that you can take on. And for example, obviously, the way I'm delivering this message right now carries a certain tone. Even just right there, what I just did carries a certain tone, right? I'm creating a little bits of pause. I'm allowing things to hang, right? And with this, I'm leveraging tone to either sound very excited and I can go ahead and ramp up my speech so it comes off a certain way, or I can go ahead and slow it down and I can get a lot more serious. I can hush my words down, and this way I can kind of whisper into the mic and it's going to elicit a different feeling, right? And that's how all of tone works. When you are creating a sentence, are you finishing it with a period or are you finishing it with a question mark? Do you see what I mean? Right? Are you letting your tone go up? Or are you letting your tone end flat? And especially in sales, this is where I see a lot of salespeople, entrepreneurs, especially when you're selling your own idea, fall very flat because you want to go ahead and ask for the sale, ask for the investment, ask for the cooperation from XYZ person, and you're finishing off a sentence, a statement, as if there was a question. Hey, sir. So are you ready to get started? Or, hey, sir, are you ready to get started? Two completely different energies in there. One is a question, one's a statement, but they, because of the tone, give off two different messages. One has lower confidence, one has more confidence. So, sir, would you like to get started? So, sir, would you like to get started? Right? There's a lot more certainty. There's a lot more confidence just simply in the delivery when it comes to your tone. And tonality is so critical because if you add 55 plus 38, do you know what you get? You get 93%. 93% of communication is entirely predicated upon your body language, your nonverbals, the way you communicate without using any words, and then also with the way in which you deliver your words. The accent, the slang, the colloquial terms, the big words, the jargon, the questions, the statement tones, the high-paced, very fast, very loud, the slow, very whisper, more like inside a store at the Rolex, buying a Rolex type. You get what I mean, right? They're very, very different. And then the last piece to communication are your words. It's 7%. 7%. And so what I specifically want to get across during this is that so many people, perhaps even you, get so hung up on what do I say? What do I say? What do I say? What do I say? When it doesn't even fucking matter. It just doesn't matter what you say. This is why, especially, I guarantee you, all the best salespeople, all the best entrepreneurs, all the best business, all of the best things that tend to ever happen are following some sort of methodology, following some sort of script. Now, I'm not saying that you have to have a script and you have to only stick to the script. What I'm saying is that you can't spend your time during a call or when you are trying to convince someone of something whether that be a friend, a family, or a business person, you cannot spend all your time worrying about what you are trying to say. You must specifically focus exclusively on your body language and your tone. But now let's say that you are on a phone call and the body language isn't there. So you can't visually see them. They can't visually see you. I already told you that body language is still somewhat apparent, but let's go ahead and say that it's not. And so then let's go ahead and rearrange the proportions. I believe that it is fair to assume 80% tonality, 20% words when you are making phone calls. And so then if that's the case, I'm still not going to really worry about the words as much. I'm going to worry about how I am delivering these words. Where are my ums and my likes to try and act like I'm, acting more a certain way? Where am I going fast? Where am I going slow? How am I delivering everything? And so this is very important because this is why you got to have a script. You got to have a framework. You got to know I am generally going to talk about these things. And when you know what you're going to say, now you can spend that entire time focusing on how you are delivering that information. And that is going to be hands down the most impactful way to impact someone else, to help move them through your pipeline, to help move them along their transformation. We must understand communication if we truly want to communicate with people. Because a lot of times the words from anyone doesn't matter. We're most often communicating energies. We're communicating emotions. We're communicating intentions. More often than we're really communicating any words. And that's why most often the message isn't in the words. The message is somewhere between the lines and in the person. So when it comes to your communication ability, I encourage you to first focus on your body language. That's number one, most important, most critical, will help you out the absolute best. Number two, focus on the way in which you deliver information, your tone and your ability to speak, right? To deliver, to have a certain type of tone respective to the certain type of message you want to get across. And then lastly, your words. That should be the stuff you role play on your own. That should be the stuff that you practice and you already know what you're going to say so that you can be 100% present. Because when you're 100% present, that's where the magic really comes from. So with that, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode about the rule of communication and how communication works so that you can better improve and impact your life and your business and everything else in between. Thank you so much again for tuning in. If you really enjoyed this episode, we highly encourage you to hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, so you know when new episodes come out every Monday and Thursdays every single week. You can follow us on Instagram, on TikTok, and all other streaming platforms. Make sure to download us if you're listening on Spotify or Apple. And with that, I will leave you, as I leave you always, make sure to be present, love deeply, and aim higher. This is The Gen Ed Show.